analysts. We also are holding court this morning with Honorable Jacomedu, who is a member of parliament from Igembe. Also, we have Herman Manyora, who is a lecturer from University of Nairobi and a political analyst here. We have Mithika Linturi, who is a member of parliament from Igembe South, and Senator Kimani Wamatangi, who is a senator from Kiambu, and Shakeel, who is a member of parliament from Kisumu East. Gentlemen, looking at that, Shabbir, were you in that meeting? Where were you?
No, I was not. I just came in. I had gone abroad for a few days. I was not in that meeting, so I couldn't tell you what happened. But I did follow it. So I can't really comment on what Honorable Duale has brought up in the other meeting. Yes.
All right. Let's hear from Herman Manyora. You were on the ground.
Yeah, I was.
Yes. So we saw that particular, of course, the remarks from every leader there. Then the following day, we had also Moses Wetangula coming to the fore and say, we don't recognize NASA. And we thought this was a particular establishment that was made to reinforce the unity of the opposition and, of course, to bring forth NASA. But it was not really clearly seen if NASA was being unveiled. So why this back and forth from these particular leaders?
I was in Bomas, I was in Kasarani, and I was there with your nation crew, giving live coverage and talking about these things. It is true that Bomas, in a way, failed.
What failed?
Bomas didn't come out the way people had expected. People expected, at the very least, these gentlemen, because there's no lady there, to embrace this NASA thing and launch it. At the very least. Of course, there were higher expectations, but people were realistic. It may not be the time to name the flag bearer. But at the very least, embrace NASA and launch it.
Yes.
That didn't happen. So to a big measure, it was anticlimax. That said, they promised to work together. They committed themselves to opposition unity, and the reasons are there. But hardly a day or two later, Wetangula comes out and says he doesn't understand what NASA is all about. Because if he talks about code was for the previous arrangement. NASA is going forward. Moreover, if you are going to admit other people who are not part of code, then you need a superstructure. A structure within which you can contain code. You can't contain others within code. You can't invite others to come within code. It's possible, but the kind of way, the kind of politics we are now dealing with, the way politics being played in the opposition, you need something bigger than code. And I think NASA was that thing. So because they were so worried about this NASA thing, and they are associated with Mudavadi, they fear if you promote NASA, then you are promoting Mudavadi. But the worst thing, which is almost comical, is for 2 or so days later, Wetangula talked the way he talked. I then begin asking myself, do these gentlemen in the opposition know what they really want? Is Wetangula fighting for Luya supremacy, or they are fighting for the presidents of this country? You are left wondering, what is it they are fighting for? Khalwale and Wetangula and the rest of these people. Is it some small wars in the village in Kakamega, or is it the higher war of the presidency? So that's what I saw in Bomas. In Kasarani, the fellows were very organized, they had a clear message, but contrary also to what they said, I also noticed that they spend almost 90% of their time answering Bomas. So it shows they're also scared. They spend all the time answering Bomas, even as they said Washindwe. But the 5-point reason that Ruto gave, if we had time, we'd go through them. I know we don't have the time, but most of them can be challenged by a serious opposition, which I fear seem to be lacking today, if you ask me. But the most important thing, and I want to send Wamatangi to the clip, I understand a bit of Gekoyo. I heard Moses Kuria saying he can't see how the opposition can win. I'm starting to be corrected because my Gekoyo is not that good. That how can the opposition win? We have 3 million votes waiting to be registered. If we will register those 3 million, can these animals defeat us? Did I hear that? If that's what he said, then I'm wondering. The same animals were inside that stadium and they were listening to Kuria say that. So listen to the clip. NTV can unveil it to you. If Kuria said those nyamos, go and advise him not speak like that because he wants votes from those nyamos. And I'm saying my Geko is not good. But that's what I thought I had. Please check the clip and advise me.
Who was he referring to as Nyamos?
Because Nyamos are people from Rogoros. The Luyas and the Luos and the rest of those people in Jubilee.
Maybe Senator
like
Wamatangi
it
can
sounds
clarify.
right, that's what
He was at the event. Nyamos, were there any Nyamos remarks that you had during
Just be
the...
honest.
Can I-
I'm honest on you.
can I
You are very
deal with
honest.
Without sugarcoating it.
Can I deal with the issues I want to deal with?
No,
because I have a lot of issues.
For the sake of the viewers,
I can deal with that at the end of.
start with that one, then you proceed.
So fine. To begin with, let me then make it my chance to deal with what I wanted to deal with. And first, I want to begin by agreeing absolutely with Professor. But even in agreeing with him on what happened in Bomas, I wonder why he still have question marks in his mind. Because, you know, I mean, he has given a very good narrative of what happened. And then he finishes by saying that, I don't know whether these gentlemen still want what they know. What would you say you don't know after that? You have known all the time. It has been there. The writing has been on the wall. They have said it and shown it. They have, you know, what Ruto said there, and I don't want to repeat all those adjectives and descriptive words of clueless and rudderless and leaderless and planless, and but that is precisely what they are. And but let me not make it my line. It was his line. It falls within what they do. But you know, did you see Bomas was it was a charade. It was never even intended to be. To begin with, if you noticed the Debarl, and I'm sure most Kenyans watched, this thing that you are calling NASA only exists in the mind of Mudavadi, and it was partially mentioned by Kalonzo. No one else. If you listened to the talk by Wetangula, by Kalwale, and by the main principal himself, Raila, there was not a single word. Actually, they avoided like a plague mentioning the word NASA. And the most laughable part, and I'll call it laughable because it is when at the end of the whole event, they attempt to read some resolutions. I'm sure you saw that. Orengo is, no, we have agreed, you will hold together. And then these guys, when they hold together, they raise their arms as though it is a big thing to raise. I mean, come on, you're not being told to hold hands. You're not necessarily school kids. I mean, they meant you show something. You know, after reading all those resolutions, did you see a signing ceremony of the resolutions? These guys bolted, they ran after the reading because nobody was going to sign that thing. They didn't want to sign. So, and I want to appeal to members of the fourth estate because we respect you with the work that you do on reporting. But please abandon this mission of trying to build NASA. It is not there. You know, you have done a lot to try to help these guys to look somehow organized and come up with something. You know, actually, in my mind, I have been asking myself, I wish these minds and thoughts were put on again to the work that Jubilee is doing. We would be millions of miles ahead as a country.
Let's say
now on this question of what did we do ourselves in Kasarani. Unless somebody in this country is the most probably biased or prejudiced, not to say for sure, that all the things that we said and did in Kasarani ourselves reflect perfectly on who we are and where we are going and what we intend for this country. We had our plan, we have our plan, we have our people, we have our roadmap, we have our projects, we have the manifesto that we have laid out for Kenyans, and we spoke it, we have said it, and that's where we are going. Actually, the main emphasis after we left there was that we are going now to mobilize our people to register as voters, to realize our manifesto. Forget the little sideshows.
All right.
And one thing I want to tell Prof,
now
if you know my politics,
just a moment, let's
my politics are very clear. I am not, I don't play to small politics. I have a big picture of this country. I have a big picture of my people. I have no problem because I know that there has been a lot of hate and hate.
All right, thank you. Let us hear from
We can make
Shabbir.
this country better.
Yes. Where does corruption come into all that? Do you actually say that? I mean, it's recognized that we have that the highest level of corruption ever Kenya has ever formed. No. You said these are the things that we have achieved.
Fine.
Yes, you have achieved a very high level of corruption.
Shakeel,
no.
Unless you started looking at
Just
politics
let, no,
yesterday.
let him, let
May
him
I
have his
say-
time.
We've allowed
Just
you to give your 5 points or 6 points. I was wondering whether in all those, did you have the opportunity to say that we're going to fight corruption? Did you have the opportunity to say that this impunity has to go? Can you come back to the wananchi and say, listen, whether you are from the central province or where you are from, this issue of grand corruption, we're going to take somebody and somebody is going to pay for it within the next 2 months or 3 months? No. You said nothing of those. And the people of Kenya are worried. You said nothing about, as I said, I did hear all this. You said nothing about the cost of cost of food. You said nothing about the other issues that the whole society is falling apart when some of the pillars of society, like teachers, doctors, and these are going on strike. I mean, when you're saying that this country is only for the few, and you've said it, it's only for the few who are going to be ruling Kenya for the next ABC. The question here is whether, in your own assessment, whether it was at Bomas or at Kasarani, whether you actually tackle the positions that the Kenyans are concerned about. The Kenyans are concerned about these issues, and they are looking at the opposition as an alternative way to take it out. I mean, you can't come and say the opposition cannot do A, B, and C. What you need to tackle, I mean, I saw on television, I mean, this gentleman, Mr. Tuju, was on the flight with me, and I'm surprised he was on the flight with me, and how he was so aware of what has been going on. But what I'd like to see is, here we have the same person who the president fired. Waiguru fired her from her position, or she stepped down or whatever, he fired. Yet she's going as governor under your own flag. So where is your message to the wananchi who are dying? I mean, the poor in Central are the same as the poor in Nyanza, the poor at the coast, and the poor elsewhere. If they feel that this is the country for 10 rich Kenyans or 100 Kenyans, 150 million are going to be paupers, what are you going to do?
All right, let's hear from Mithika Linturi. Linturi?
Yeah. You know, Debarl, I think it's important to be honest with each other. Whatever happened at Kasarani, in my view, is really a reflection of what the Jubilee administration has been able to do or has attempted to do in the last 4 years. And I think unless people are blind, we will not really refuse to see that, for example, when the president spoke about them being power in primary schools, whether the school is in Central, whether it's in Coast or is in Kisumu. In fact, I saw him the other day lighting a steamer in a place in Kisumu, right? And you think, Shabbir, you need to see those kind of things, right? Whether PR or not PR, there was no light in that kiosk, there was no light in that manned house. And for the first time, light went there.
I must correct you on behalf of the viewers.
Allow me.
From February last year, Kenya Power Company has not been doing new installations in this country. If you apply for electricity today, I applied for electricity in 2015 November. Up to now, you cannot even get a quotation because they fear to give you a quotation that is beyond 15,000 and antagonize the government's lie about 15,000. Many Kenyans are suffering I've been in darkness for a whole year myself, more than a year.
I don't think that is true.
Don't sell PR things.
I think I'll correct. I'll let
Let me-
you
okay,
say
it
what
was
you say.
my chance.
Let Mithika finish.
Yeah,
Let
was
her
my
finish.
chance,
But I will need to correct
because,
Prof. I
You
think
will.
he's-
You will.
he's really
Let's
misleading.
Mithika finish.
You know, I don't think
Yeah.
it's true, Professor.
Lying, man.
Kenya Power has been giving people their views or their quotations.
They are not
Yesterday,
releasing quotations that
yesterday,
have three-phase.
I can give you a copy.
Three-phase. Please, 9 kVA and above. Anything below 8 kVA, they have not been releasing for much.
All right,
February
your
last
point,
year.
Mithika, your point.
Yeah,
Just a moment,
That's
your
a
point,
fact.
Mithika.
You're not being truthful, man.
All right, let Mithika finish.
lying.
Just a moment, Mithika, just
You
finish.
know, I'm almost losing now my
Please,
thought
continue,
process.
continue,
Yeah,
continue.
and the issues I was supposed to address myself to.
Please do.
But
apologize.
let me say that all said and done, when you compare the two meetings, what happened at Bomas and the other, I think, as you and earlier said, Jubilee looked more organized.
Correct, that's true.
And it is not wrong.
Is it because Jubilee control also their crowds? Because I think this was by invitation.
Let me tell
And you
you,
wanted you
How
wanted the
control?
16,000 attendees for that particular.
You know,
and
let me
looking
tell
at
you,
NASA, it was open
had a
for
clear,
all and
actionable
sundry.
message.
Absolutely not.
Debarl,
Yeah, we'll
allow
come
me
to
to
you.
tell you, you know, there is one time I did
But-
a course in marketing.
Let's not
and
even go
one
there
thing
before.
that I was
just
told,
confirm to me. Did you?
I'm trying to address the issue of the crowds.
Okay.
And this is what I'm saying, that in marketing, you know, for a product to penetrate market depends on its packaging and the message that as a salesman you go giving to the intended consumers.
Yes.
So if you portray NASA as a crownless, randerless, linderless, or whatever it is, clueless kind of outfit, and Jubilee here is so organized, then even that wananchi who does not even understand the dynamics and the politics of the country will just from the face
Face value.
Yes, from the face value of the whole thing, just after looking at the two, then we'll make a decision and say, I think this is where we want to go. So we're asking COND, please, right, if you want to engage serious Kenyans, and you know there are serious Kenyans out there that are also saying, oh, you know, something may be wrong, that something is not right, things can be done better, but you are not giving them an alternative of choice. Because nobody who is in right senses will decide to leave Jubilee and go and support COND in the manner in which you are. So please, give us a break. Let us, because we are more organized, let us organize ourselves. Let's continue giving a better agenda for Kenya than you are doing.
All right, let us hear from the Comedio.
Debarl, this issue of comparison, why is it not having the argument that every time CORD goes to
The streets.
which streets? To Bomas, the following Friday, Jubilee uses government resources to go to Kasarani. What did Jubilee go to do in Kasarani? They are not even mentioning it. Debarl, let me tell you something. This is a match of 11 aside. CORD is heavily manned because we have many players playing for Jubilee, beginning with Mithika, Linturi, Wamatangi, William Ruto, Duale. You know, when Duale goes to Makto's funeral and abuses an old mzee like Daniel Arap Moi, and talks silly and says his father-in-law, who was on payroll to do his duty, dragged Moi from the bush using his head. You know, in CORD, we just know we have another player playing for the other side. We know if he sees his own goal, he will score for us. When William Ruto says, for example, we have put power in every primary school. Debarl, you know, from the 28th to the 2nd, I was in my home. In my home in Igembe, I'm a member of parliament. I did not have electricity. And when you call them, they are rude. Then you tell us that an ordinary person can access power. Debarl, I have gone with the Minister of Power, Honorable Charles Keter, to my constituency. And those power people put, for a sick lady in a madhouse, they put that meter, which is prepaid for a sick lady. I mean, that is, which common sense is that? That lady didn't even have food, no medicine. You know, you are saying they are organized. These are organized thieves. And I want to prove it to you. The points, the card that William Ruto told Kenyans that we have a scorecard. First of all, when CORD goes to Bomas, we are attempting to unite because we understand that this country is tired of the thieving government. We will unite, trust me. Nobody, and I want to correct Professor, we didn't go to endorse NASA. We were going. It's a process. Unity is a process. We said we will get there. And you can't fault Wetangula for saying, I am not consulted. He's an adult, and he runs a big political outfit. So we will consult him. We are consulting, and I can tell you, there is nowhere for any of us to run to, because that is not the expectation of Kenyans to us. But we will, once we unite, we will come with a manifesto, with a campaign manifesto, which will address the scorecard, which William Ruto was talking about. We will be talking about how to deal with the Eurobond thieves. We will be asking about the NYS funds. We'll be asking about the youth fund. We will be talking about the Langata Primary School stolen land. We will be talking about SGR with the locomotives, which are manual. We will be talking about mobile clinics. We will be talking about doctor strike. We will be talking about the price of unga, price of fuel, and Debarl. We will be talking about tribalism. I saw Duale talk yesterday. He said, addressing the issue of voter registration, the people of Rift Valley, which is the area where the deputy president comes from, register. Then he said the people of Mount Kenya region, where the president comes from, register. So that on the voting day, votes will flow like rain, or so we use some adjectives like that. But he did not talk about, he is the leader of majority. He did not talk about his region, which is purely coded. He is, so he's telling Kenyans that in the next elections, Jubilee, we should expect votes from Kalenjins and Kikuyus only in this country. That is the dream of Jubilee. I have a surprise for you. When they try to mislead Kenyans, if you look at what is happening in the Rift Valley, there is Mashinani. I can dare you, it is not the same story. William Ruto rose to fame talking about Mau. The Jubilee government has burnt more houses in Mau than ever before. So he cannot talk about Mau again.
All right.
And just one last thing. He also did say they won the presidency when they were not in power. Uhuru Kenyatta was the deputy prime minister. William Ruto was the minister of agriculture, who was just disgraced. He had amassed wealth in the Ministry of Agriculture. Which power does a man need? So this time we are going to be dealing with issues, and wait for our manifesto, and wait for this animal called NASA. You will see that it will be not different, even a comma, with the 202.
All right, I just want, before we come to Kimani Wamatangi, maybe you can comment also on this particular editorial cartoon by Stano of NASA, right? This is right after, of course, you had this particular meeting at Bomas of Kenya. So we can see that you're standing on a cockerel there, which is meant to be Kanu. You can see over there, and then we have also your principles, piling on top of each other. But on top there's a headless man there.
Debarl.
And he's asking, is the pillar longer and strong enough to bring down Jubilee? That is what Jiko asking.
Now, Debarl, actually, there was also a very hilarious one, cartoon. I think that was yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yes, yesterday, where there were these two horses, just at the starting line.
All right.
And then
that was in the
I think it was in one of the papers. I saw it yesterday. A very interesting one. Where these guys were attempting to do. My goodness. God is full of wonders, but you know, Debarl.
But what is wrong with that cartoon? The one we've just seen.
I mean, you fellows, not only are you leaderless now and clueless and radarless, now you're also headless in that cartoon, that is. But you know, those are not the issues I wanted to address with you, Jacoyo. Now that Debarl has introduced them, I wanted to address the issues that you're addressing on this platform.
Eurobond,
the really issues. Because you see,
yes.
Debarl, one thing that Jacoyo you cannot do, and I want first to remind you and remind our viewers, you know, if you have attempted to take, and as a leader you must, have attempted to take a simple course on life coaching, the first instruction you are given by a life coach is, if you hear or encounter a man who tells you, first, trust me, never trust that man. He's not trustworthy. That's why you go and advance, trust me, we shall unite. Trust me, we shall do. Forget that. Show, do it. You know, that's the first advice. Now, Prof, you have had your time. Let's deal with this confusion because you know,
your brother
okay, let him finish.
You're still advancing and bringing the same sickness and fever that has affected your colleagues and was displayed at Bomas. If you listen, you know, you asked a very straightforward question there, and the matter to be determined this morning on AM Live is clear. You have put it there. Namely? On comparison of what was happening in Bomas and in Kasarani, in what they stand for and what we stand for. But these guys have mastered the art of confusion and lying. Because once you ask that question, you can see the default cliche that Jacob falls to. SGR, Eurobond, but they can never answer to the issue. But he summarizes it by saying that somehow, somewhere in the future, we shall unite. I want to say this clearly, with open eyes, so that anybody who wants to know can know. When you bring this debate on the issues of all those things that you continue to mention about, we shall answer you word for word. Each one of them.
Begin now.
Okay.
Now.
Begin. All right. But listen, you know, I heard you attempting to say that you were at home, there was no power in your house.
There was none.
Yes, there is rationing going on, not only in your home, but all over the country. And remember, you should be the last person, Jacoyo, to even attempt to say that. Right where you are sitting. I remember we had this very passionate argument with you, trying to argue why there should be no construction and conservation of water during rainy seasons. And I remember you pointing, that dam, why are they building this dam? Why are they building this dam?
Right, okay.
Come on, this is common knowledge.
Can I butt in? I'm sorry to butt in a bit. Let me just ask, because also Jacob raises a very crucial topic or a comment on the locomotive, which are not, which are manual?
Manual,
yeah, the manual locomotives.
They are diesel.
Yeah, they're diesel locomotives. Yeah. And maybe this is a question I should ask you, Wamatangi and Mithika Linturi as well. Because now we have 42 billion shillings that is being set aside for electrification of this locomotive. Does it make any leak of sense to you that why we should actually stash aside, or the government should be looking for extra 42 billion shillings? Was there no good planning and the cost-benefit analysis on this when actually they were coming up with the SGR project itself, that it's going to be electrified? Why are you looking for money right now, 42 billion shillings, to electrify these SGRs, the locomotives?
So is it wrong to, are you saying it's wrong to electrify?
We're asking, why is it coming after you've launched the project, then now you discover that you're supposed to electrify it? This is where now I think wananchi will have misgivings.
Because when Midi was said that the locomotives are manual, he's trying to whip some emotion by using the word manual. The point is this, that you...
But the fact is you're looking for 42 billion shillings.
That's why I'm coming. That's why I'm coming. Because this is a project, my friend. I have not seen that request for the 42 billion where it came from, but if it is there, you know, in any project, including building your own small house, Debarl, if you start building it today, but maybe it looks like you already have one from the way you dress. But even if you started building your own small house, by the time you get to roofing, you realize that you needed some extra nails. you may, by the time you get to paint the house, you get to realize that some of the fittings you wanted to do in there, you record. This is common in a project.
But those are accessories.
I'm not
those are
saying that
fixtures.
I've seen them.
We're talking
But
about
my friend,
major.
you know, as long as a cost is, you know, in government, in the procurement law, there is already a provision in the procurement law that allows you to seek for variation of a contract. You know, in realization of what?
15%.
That when you are embarking on a project to build, that there can be variables that change in the course of the project. And that's why that's allowed. So I think if the law is followed, if a cost is justified, then you can seek it. That's not a big
okay,
issue.
let's hear
Let
from
me say
Mithika.
something.
Yes, can we hear from
Please.
Mithika? Then we
I
hear
had
from you, Prof. Let's just hear from
Okay.
Mithika.
Let's give Professor.
No, please.
You know, in most cases, I don't like talking so much on speculation, because facts that I'm not assessed with are either very difficult either to defend or criticize. So I'm hearing about this issue of an extra 42 billion to support
To electrify, yes, the SGR.
SGR at this particular time. So the opinion that I give is based on what I think may or was not done at the time of the feasibility study when it was being conducted. Because I think the method of powering the train is so critical and not anything that can come later. At the time of inception of a project,
Yes.
we must really be able to know whether we are going to use electricity, we are going to use diesel, we are going to use petrol. Because it's very, very, very important. And I think, because I participated in the interrogation of of this project as a committee, as a member of our committee, and I know the locomotives that were being bought. We raised certain pertinent questions about those locomotives. I think that report is in Parliament, which we did bring to Parliament. But I would want to say that if we are asking for 42 billion now, and we have realized that in diesel will not be able to power these locomotives to the required speed and for the efficiency required, then those people that came up with this idea from the beginning really made a serious error, because that amount of money is not literable.
Thank you. All right, just hold on. We have callers who are hanging on the line. We want to listen and hear from Michael, Robert, and Margaret hanging on the line. We begin with Michael. Hello, good morning, Michael.
Morning to you.
Morning, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, you have a question or a contribution for our panelists. Kindly keep it brief.
I have a question and some contribution
Okay.
on a comment.
Right, let's start with the...
First of all, I would like to say I don't think like the Jubilee side of our political party really understands what we are talking about. It's like they're trying to put the cart before the horse, because everything they talk big and then start talking on how to implement the digital that we've been talking about. Power the SGR, now they're trying to get money to power the SGR. Power, they say they have power in every house, but like Jacoya said, if you're paid for power today, you're most likely to spend a few thousand shillings on the paraffin before you get the power to your house. And you've already paid the 15,000 they're asking for. The other thing is Jubilee being the ruling party, they should be talking on issues. They should be telling us real progress. But they make code as what Kenyans are interested in. Kenyans are not interested in code or whatever party there will be. They're interested on how they are going to how they are going to better their lot in life. But when Ruto comes there, he wants to awana sijui, awana kichwa, he wants sijui, awana. We are not interested in that.
All right, thank you.
And so
Thank you, Michael. I think we've gotten the gist of your comments. Let's hear from Robert as well, who's hanging on the line. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. You have a question or a contribution for our panelist?
Yes, I'm very disappointed in this politician, the panel right now.
Yes.
Okay, you see, the thing is, we are not really interested in who is in power, who will take power from Uhuru and Ruto.
Yes.
The issue is we are broke Kenyans, we are hungry, and we are also graduates. We cannot get a job. Yeah, we've been looking for a job for the past 1 year. You go, you take your CVs, no one takes you. Yeah, food is expensive. The taxes have gone up. Yeah, we're even unable to continue the education. What we're asking is, why the hell should we vote Jubilee again? There are no jobs. There's nothing positive that they have given us.
Yes.
We want something different. The people of the state decided to vote Trump because they want something different. Yeah, these people should be realistic. I'm very angry. I'm very angry with people right now. Yeah.
Yes.
I wish somebody else would just stand up and save Kenya from these people. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Robert. Let's hear from Margaret finally. Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. You have a question or a contribution for our panelists?
For a contribution. First of all, I want to thank you for this program.
Thank you very much.
And my first comment goes to Jubilee.
Yes.
They should not just always be blasting the opposition. Remember in the Bible, David killed Goliath. So as much as they have the scorecard with them in their hands, they should also look at the common wananchi. The electricity they're talking about, after putting electricity in my house in the shack,
yes,
and I'm in a mud house, I'm struggling to put food on the table. Who is going to meet the bills of that? Have they even followed up to see whether these people are meeting the bills of that electricity? Two, this goes to Senator Wamatangi. Most times when he's contributing, he wants to cut other people when they're contributing to the debate. He should also be patient and wait for others to give in their contribution, but not to be cutting them when they're giving their contribution. Three, for COD and the NASA. They should not also concentrate on what Jubilee is telling them. They should concentrate on putting the house in order.
Thank you.
Wananchi are looking upon them.
Right, thank you.
What changes are they coming to bring to us? And finally, is about Duale. Truly speaking, the Jubilee people should talk to Duale. When we come to Garissa incident, when he told us that they were going to unveil the names of the people who are financing the Al-Shabaab, it never came up. And he has continued making mistakes at Hudi Wananchi. But the Jubilee people have continued to cover him up. They don't want to tell him to stand and tell people what he meant by that.
Thank you.
Corruption, let them agree there is corruption in Jubilee and they have to tackle it, not to cover up.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much. I wish we could have more time to hear from you. Let's hear from, you can get also reactions of Wamatangi and Jakoyev. Yeah. And as we're preparing our thought lines as well, the headline thoughts, you will come to you, don't worry.
Debarl, I like what I'm hearing from Wananchi. Debarl, what Robert has spoken about. First of all, Margaret has advised COD, because what COD is not telling Kenyans is what they can do. NASA, COD, whatever, Kenyans want an alternative. And what Robert has said, he's hungry. The worst thing which is happening now, yesterday you saw a big company like Airtel laying off 1/3 of its workforce. Portland Cement, 1,000 people. Samia, 600 people. Equity, 400 people. Posta, 2,000 people. Stanchard, 300 people. Last year, in the last 8 months of last year, the economy lost 135,000 jobs in the formal sector. Forget about Juakali. And yet, these guys go to Kasarani and only try to address our attempt at unity. You know, what happened at Bomas was really a good thing. It is the first time CORD and NASA were attempting to see if we can even gel. And then immediately we said we are going there. They announced they are going to Kasarani to waste public funds. And you must know, every cent they use is money that has not paid doctors. And amount of corruption. You know, when you even talk about this thing about mobile clinics, if you listen to the case of doctors and how many people have died in the 40 days that doctors have been on strike, the money which was stolen in mobile clinics was more than enough to pay the doctors for the next 10 years.
Thank you. Let's hear from Prof. Then we'll come to you. We'll come to you. Your reaction. Let's hear from Prof. Prof.
You know, initially I had wanted to contribute about SGR, and
yes.
but the viewers have told us, let's talk politics. Yes. What I had wanted to say, which I'll say in half a second, is that we should forget about SGR. First of all, we are not even experts, but the whole thing stinks. It stinks because if you had that kind of money, 600 billion, in a poor third world country, you will not take it on a rail. You will give water to Northeastern Province, you will open up roads for farmers in Kirinyaga and the rest. It stinks because the feasibility study was done by the Chinese. The costing was done by the Chinese. Then they tell you it will cost so much, we shall give you somebody to finance it, a Chinese bank. Then, if we are financing you, we shall take the contract, a Chinese company. And then the locomotives, we shall sell you from China. And now the latest this week, or last week, is that they are the ones who are going to run the rail for 10 years. So these things stinks. Let's forget about it. Let's talk about politics. And the politics I was saying was this. What I meant so that people don't misunderstand me is that if you compare the two events, Bomas and Kasarani, the Jubilee event was well organized. It had a message. Actionable message. The people left there knowing this is an organized house and we are being asked to do what? To go and get votes and to retain power because that other side is so disorganized, so clueless, they can't win. To Jacoyo Midio, my able friend, if you did not go to Bomas to launch NASA, what took you to Bomas? The media, listen, now wacha umeambiwa na Margaret usio ukiingilia watu. Margaret amekwambia usio ukiingilia watu. Listen, please, I'm finishing. I'm the most brief on this panel and even the viewers know it.
You've not been brief.
Listen, in Bomas, the people in Bomas were expecting something you didn't give them. The media, the expectation, and the final to my friend Jacoy and the CORD. Let me tell you this. If you think you'll dilly-dally and go to some boardroom one day and select a leader to take you forward, you will have lost the people along the way. These things go with the mood. The mood was ripe at Bomas. You didn't make use of it.
Dictate to us
when another one comes,
we will never let you do that.
No.
We know you are advisor.
We are advising
to one of those
this
people.
advice
I am
is free.
also one.
The advice you can take it
He's
or
an
leave it.
advisor.
He's an advisor.
All right, let's hear from Wamatangi.
You see,
Briefly.
and this Bomas question should be settled here once and for all. And the mood, the altercation, the exchange between the two tells you, you know, Prof is a good advisor to
Jubilee.
To Mudavadi. You know that?
No, to Jubilee.
And this gentleman, Honorable Midio, is a good advisor and friend of the of Baba. And so this what you're seeing playing out here.
What about Mithika?
Functional. That's a functions.
Mithika is a Jubilee stalwart. But I tell you, what you see happening here is precisely what was happening in Bomas. That's what you saw, if you noticed.
Yes.
In political speak.
We have 2 minutes to wind up, sir.
In political speak, Debarl, if I'm here with Jacoy, and I'm Jacoy's senior as a senator, and he's my junior. If you're saying, come and speak, that's what I mean. If you're saying, come and address the people, you call Jacoy first and call me last. Because I'm the one who's supposed to give the final word, if you noticed.
But it could also be
they were very careful
it could also be
to show Mudavadi that he's a junior partner. They intentionally called him to speak before Wetangula. so that they can settle this question of who is senior. They came with it to bomb us.
Okay, let's leave it at
Now,
that.
On this question of, I was told by Margaret.
We need to hear from Shabbir as we're winding up.
Answer Robert.
No,
Answer Robert.
yeah, fine, that's what I'm doing.
And Margaret.
No,
We have a minute to go, sir.
Yeah.
Not to be cutting people in the middle, but Margaret needs to know
That you're also being cut.
That actually I have seriously suffered when Jacoyo is here and Kalwala is here, and they tell so much lies. Sometimes I just want to come out and tell the people that these are outright lies, because this is the trading stock of God. But however, what Robert said is important to talk about, because we have a big burgeoning youth who require to get jobs in this country, who must get jobs. And the way forward to create jobs in this country for our young people. And you heard that young man saying that he has been on the road tammacking for a year. At this time, with a degree, he's an angry man. And he's right to be angry.
Thank you.
At a country.
Thank you.
Now, the way forward for us is not the code way. If we have to make that young man happy, it is not by going to the streets to break glass.
It's the Eurobond way.
The way to do that is to have a clear roadmap, a manifesto that says that this is what we want
All
to
right,
do.
and we're eagerly waiting for the manifestos. Let's hear from Shabbir as we're preparing 30 seconds each to wind up.
Well,
Very briefly, sir.
I'll take Watangi's, Senator Watangi's 30 seconds because it's taken hours.
All right.
Firstly, marketing. Marketing is a matter of PR. And okay, they did a good PR, but they were not in sync with the issues the people really want. You can go and PR anything that you want, unless when you go out to the people, you did not talk about corruption, you did not talk about jobs, you did not talk about the major issues that are affecting the people. Prices, drought, 3 pages of the paper are talking about drought. What are you talking about? Then this issue of electricity and diesel. I'm sure we all know, if you're going to put an electricity SGR, electricity should be all along the railway line. It isn't that one unit just comes and it's like a generator in itself working electricity. So you put the railway line from Mombasa to nearly Nairobi, and there is not a single electricity supply cable on it. I mean, good God, we are not idiots. Now this issue of diesel or electricity, this was dealt with some time ago. I am aware that China put up 6,000 kilometers of electricity run railway just recently. And the point of the issue really is this, and the Mheshimiwa Linturi is there. The point of the issue is this, that they have decided to backtrack. Whether it was our people who decided it's cheaper to go or diesel, but you not put electricity all the way because they need those electricity things in China. They'll never give it to you. Finally, sir, I must tell you one thing. We were in Panama the other day with Mheshimiwa Jacoyo and others. It was not a party issue. We were there with Jubilee people as well. And it was very clear. I mean, the message that we were getting, and with the African parliamentarians against corruption, the message we were getting is, listen, why can't Kenya get its head together? Why can't we fight this corruption, whether you're Jubilee or CORD? Can you settle some of these major issues?
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
sir. Thank you. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much.
Trump is in town, and with the Trump in town, worry not.
Thank you.
These people who are thieving around in Africa, their days are numbered.
All right, gentlemen.